Hello, my name is Chris and I will review the 2018 Nissan 370Z, a true sports car. Z comes front engine and rear wheel drive. Z was redone in 2009 and not much has changed since. Chunky and tough characterize this striking design that does not seem to get very old. Noticeable are the excessively flared wheel wells. Looks good from the rear three quarters also. Z is one of the true sports cars left on the market. Obviously, there is very little trunk room and the interior is a mixed bag. Recently, Nissan cut the base price of Z to $30,000 Canadian, making it affordable to younger buyers. Ross likes this interior, but I disagree as many parts seem as though they could have come out of a Versa. This is a $50,000+ convertible. That being said, the ride position is sporty and the drive position is very good. There is an unmistakable sports car feel, and I was not cramped though the taller Ross differs. This Z came with a 6-speed short shift manual, a joy to use with rev matching. Why don't all manual cars have this feature? Seats are bolstered, though not annoyingly so. Less than an hour in them is fine. People have compared this car to GT86, a car I have owned, but driving it, I immediately thought of STI, not the 86, because of the power and general roughness. Z is really a Japanese muscle car, not a finesse car, as the transmission and engine are the stars of the show. Noise, vibration, harshness are prevalent, perhaps the worst showing since I began reviewing cars 3 years ago, and the noise on the highway was loud, though not quite the racket the MX-5 was. Z has come under criticism as it is apparently not fun to drive at the limit, but I enjoyed it at 80%, Ross even more. The 6-cylinder engine makes 332 horsepower and 270 pounds of torque, and the sound and acceleration are thirst-quenching. Consumption is at 13.3 liters in the city and 9.3 on the highway with premium fuel, alas. The 6-speed manual is short throw with a rough yet precision feel that contributes to the macho character of this car. Not many competitors deliver such a visceral, rough, and somewhat nostalgic driving experience at such a low cost. Here are my thoughts on the road. Hello car lovers, driving the 2018 Nissan 370Z in convertible. Would have preferred the hardtop, but whatever. This one is manual. A couple of things to say about this car. First impressions is just how rough it is. Not a lot of wind insulation, some rattles, but the engine feels really brawny. The shifter is a short throw and close geared. In fact, this car reminds me in terms of like a pleasant unrefinedness, reminds me of the WRX STI, except this one has a reliable engine. Speaking of the engine, plenty of power. I mean, this engine is older than some relatives, and but it's just great. Every time I drive it, I can't go over how good it goes. Perhaps having it run on regular would make the gas bill a little bit easier on the young people who will buy this car. And I don't think there'd be so much of a consequence in power. Limits are extremely high. I can't test them too much today because it is a Sunday afternoon in Quebec, and you know, you just can't go driving crazy. There's full of traffic. Everyone's on the road. Another thing that's pretty cool about this car, I like the steering. The steering feels pretty good. It's a single setting suspension. It's not adaptive, and it is set up kind of hard. However, the benefit to that is when you take those curves, the car stays really flat. Once again, very noisy in here. Some of the interior bits, Ross likes the interior. He feels, you know, for a sports coupe, it's fine. I think some parts come out of a Nissan Versa, perhaps. But there are some interesting amenities. Cooled seats. Right now, my back is nice and cool. And there is, for a sports coupe, enough room for somebody under 6 feet. Ross has super long legs. He just couldn't quite seem to find his comfort position. So if you're a really tall guy, maybe test drive it first, or, you know, a few minutes just to make sure that you're fitting you fit comfortably. What else about this vehicle? Well, it's a two-door sports coupe, so it's not that convenient, obviously. And another thing that I like about this vehicle is the rev matching. Now, I know that most car reviewers, they adore the manual transmission. It's like if you see a guy giving a blowjob to a shifter, they're at that level, they just take it back a little notch, right? It's you can't have rev matching. It destroys the feeling. Heel and toe is so amazing. It's like heel and toe sucks. It's only for race car drivers. Even rev matching, when I want to pass somebody, I never get it perfectly right. Whereas with this, you don't have to think about it. You can focus on the task of driving, which makes the manual transmission so much more funner. The clutch too, it must be said, is not too heavy, yet has a distinctive bite point. It's way up there though. I don't know if it's because it's the press car, but it only has 1900 kilometers, so it's a very high bite point in terms of like the take-up. So normally they're a little bit lower. What else about this car? Well, you can get it for $30,000 Canadian in Canada for the version, the base version. I would not go for that version. I think I would go for the one just above, the one at $33,000 with the Bose sound system and the big wheels, the raised wheels. You need those wheels. They look so good. And it's just by the design of this vehicle is so curvaceous and chunky at the wheel wells that you can't put 18-inch wheels there. You have to get at least 19-inch, or else the car is just going to look weird. And I can't think of much else to say. Yeah, great car. Really like it, despite the shortcomings I've described. And it would be nice that Nissan, I know they don't sell a lot of sports coupes, that's why car manufacturers don't really put a lot of money in there, but I would like Nissan to pay more attention, especially the mid-cycle refreshes. It's so important to correct, for example, the left-hand side of this gauge cluster where there's the gas and everything. It looks so cheap. These handles are coming off a Nissan Versa, let's face it. If they would just refine a little bit their product on the inside at the mid-fresh, I think they would be so much more competitive. And consequently, instead of reducing the price, because this car used to cost $40,000 and now you can get it for $30,000 in Canada, they would be able to keep the price higher, and consequently you'd just have a better product.